The conflict between the brothers becomes a battle for the known world. And so we've, in a sense, got a kind of world war. Ivar! Brother against brother, of course, is also supposed to be, in Viking folklore, the beginning of Ragnarok, the beginning of the end of the world. So for everyone concerned, the issues are huge, the consequences, victory or defeat, equally momentous. And I wanted that sense of scale, which drags in everyone else into this conflict. The allegiances and alliances change, but that war is at the center of the narrative. The war between the brothers is the deep thematic link through the episodes. It's sparked really by Ivar's refusal to follow, in a sense, in his father's footsteps and try and make peace with Saxons and try and find farming land for his people. He likes warfare. He wants to wage perpetual warfare. And it puts a huge stress on his relationship with his brothers.
They're all fighting for the right thing, which is their home. The bigger question is, whose home is it? Who claims Kattegat? Is it Lagertha's, who's someone who was raised there, born there, made Kattegat to what it is, and it was her original dream with Ragnar? Is it her sons, which she would be happy if he was ready to lead? Or is it Ragnar's other sons, Ivar's or Ubbe's or Hvitserk's? And it's a question that is more of the overall question in season 5.
There will be more attacks and you know it. You have to defend Ragnar's dream.
We are all trying to defend Ragnar's dream.
The brothers band together for one common goal, which is avenging their father's death. And now you're going to see them all separate. And similar to that dynamic of Ragnar and Rollo, Ivar and Bjorn begin to have a dynamic like that. Ivar gets corrupted by power, and he becomes a ruthless leader, and he rules by fear.
Between the 4 brothers, it's such 4 strong characters. And they're in such a heightened environment too. They're the sons of Ragnar. It's who's next in line to be king. Technically, Ragnar split into 4 different people. And he was such a strong, lovable, likable character that it's fun to see his personality split up and see all that and how those different personalities react within each other.
Ubbe has always been the one who's kind of been cultivating his father's dream of farming, and Bjorn supports that until Ubbe becomes a Christian, and then Bjorn and him go their separate ways.
And he doesn't want the old ways, he wants the new ways. He wants Ragnar's dream, and he sees the good in that dream. He believes the Vikings have to go into the next world. They have to go the way the world's going. It's not all about taking what you want when you want it. It's about finding a way to make that work and to make the Vikings grow with the new world. And the other brothers don't believe in that. So Ubbe has to go off by himself and find a way to do it.
Look, Bjorn. Look at this treasure.
The biggest fallout is between Ubbe and Ivar. Ubbe, I always think, kind of represents the liberal wing of the Viking party. And Ivar is the Floki, the fundamentalist, pagan side of the Vikings.
For every very religious Viking, it's all about honoring the gods. And because of his upbringing with Floki and his mom as well, he is very, very religious. I think it's all about honoring the gods, and he does not eventually give a damn about his brothers. Inside, it's a completely other thing, and he can't deal with it because you want to be this perfect human being, which he obviously isn't. And if you struggle with being so imperfect as he is, the exact opposite would be your entire life goal, right? Trying to be as perfect and as good as you could ever be. In his mind, it's a little different from the contemporary idea, but yeah.
Unexpected things happen in the breakup, of course. Ubbe expects Hvitserk. They were very close when they were young boys to return to Kattegat with him, leaving Ivar and a large part of the Great Army still in England. But at the last moment, Hvitserk jumps ship and chooses to be with Ivar.
Hvitserk was on Ubbe's side for the most part. He's absolutely in love with Ubbe. It's like this huge brotherly love kind of thing, right? And then when he swaps to Ivar's side, that takes up a big part of Hvitserk. He's on Ivar's side. His body is on Ivar's side. His fighting is all for Ivar, but his mentality lies with the love of Ubbe.
Be very careful what you say about me, Hvitserk.
Why? Will you kill me next?
Hvitserk has to come to terms with what he's done and why he's done it, and it takes him a long time to understand why he jumped ship.
And I love that he is evolving throughout the entire season. That he goes from being Ivar's little dog to suddenly realizing that Ivar is absolutely mental. He's insane. And then going towards this hatred, this huge, this completely, absolutely mad hatred for Ivar in the end of the season.
My fate is to kill Ivar.
Bjorn begins to realize that, it's different from his father. Ragnar never wanted to be king. Bjorn does want to be king because he wants to make a difference and bring his people back to what his father had always perpetuated to his people, that ideology of expanding their culture and moving to new lands and assimilating with other people.
It is a brother's war. Kattegat is going to suffer in the process of it, and future generations are still going to have many years to recover from this bloodshed.
The battle for Kattegat, it happens in Kattegat. It'll be the first major civil war we've seen that happens in the gates amongst the people who grew up there. So it's friends and families and neighbors all slaughtering each other.
I am Bjorn Ironside. You are my neighbors, my friends. We played together when we were children. I am not your enemy. Ivar is your enemy.
They did at least love one another. They only hated each other in the end because they loved each other so much. It's sad, but almost inevitable in that world when fame was the spur.
These Viking days, it's not about who's got the last can of drink from their fridge. It's about who's going to take over a country, who's leading an army. And everyone's got an idea of how they're going to do that in a different way. They've got such different beliefs in what's right and what's wrong, and they have such different things to prove in life.
And having seen a father who'd attacked Paris and become this mythic figure in his own lifetime, they were Vikings. They wanted to be like that. Even this cripple, especially this cripple, wanted to be greater, more famous than his father. So that's a dangerous breeding ground. They're going to be envious of each other, they're going to be competitive with each other, and ultimately, they're going to try and kill each other. It's a built-in tragedy.